Hello and welcome to Speaking About Speaking. And today, those of you that are joining me and expecting to see the lovely Vanda Varga, I made a bit of a boo-boo. I thought it was today, and actually it's not till next week. I know, and I only found that out about 2 minutes before we went live. So if there's anybody out there watching, apologies for Vanda not being here. Those of you that were expecting the lovely Vanda, she will be here next week, I promise, and I won't mess up again. So I bet you're wondering what the hell I'm going to talk about today. Well, I'm going to speak because that's what I do. So I'm going to be speaking about speaking. And so if you have any questions that you'd like to ask me about public speaking, about building your confidence around your communication, about how you can show up powerfully in front of your audience, whoever they may be, whether they're an audience of one, being a client, whether they're an audience of many. So you might be in a meeting at work, you might be doing a presentation for work, you might have to step on a stage for a conference. Perhaps you're worried about being nervous. You can't get over that feeling of the fear that you feel in your stomach before you step in front of people and open your mouth to speak. So if you've got any questions about that, then please do put them in the comments. I'm here and happy to interact with you. But what I'm going to do now is I've literally grabbed a piece of paper because I thought, right, well, I'll see what I can find, see if I can find some questions that need answering, that will help anybody out there that needs to get on a stage and step in front of their audience and speak to their clients or to their customers. So what do I do? I've been an actor, a designer, I'm a director and a producer, an arts project manager and a performance coach. And when I say performance coach, I don't mean performance in a way, but I mean actually getting on a stage and being performance ready. So making sure that if you are having to speak to someone, that I am able, with what I do as a speaker, performance coach, I can get you in front of your audience and get excited, be excited about being there and being confident with what it is that you have to say, with your content, with your visuals, with your slide deck, whatever it is that you have to present. My background really is acting and performing and teaching. So I've been a teacher of acting for many, many years, voice and breathing exercises to do with getting people ready to step on a stage. So I've been doing that for children and adults for probably 25, 30 years now. I started life as a fashion designer, which is a bit odd, I know, but I couldn't resist the temptation of being on a stage and finding characters to play and telling stories. So that's what I always loved to do. So for me, finding a character and finding that character's motivation was what I loved to do, to get on a stage and tell that story, the audience on the journey with me. And actually that's what I do now with the clients that I work with. I get to the bottom of who it is that they are and why they're doing what they're doing. I love to find out what is their motivation, what is the why are they there? And so I do that using my actor training. So the actors training that I went through before I became an actor was all around your voice, your breath, finding that motivation, really ridding yourself of inhibitions and your own traits as a personality to take on another character, really finding out what that motivation is and what that backstory is. Why is that character doing what they're doing? How do they react to the other people around them? How do the other people around them react to them as the character? And all of these things are really a beneficial process for anybody and everybody, no matter what your business is. It's about being self-aware and about really understanding your own personal brand and how you step in to your role and your business. So what do I love about what I do? Well, everything. to be honest. Like I said, I love playing a character. I love looking into somebody else's story, finding out what it is that makes them tick, really what it is that they have always wanted to do and what makes them want to do it. I love language. So I love the language that we use, the English language. I love accents. I love the voice and the physicality that comes with the voice, because the voice, after all, is breath, and how we use our breath and our bodies really affects the way that we speak. So that really interests me. I mean, as an actor, I loved rehearsal time. I loved getting in a room with people, with the other actors, the other members of the company, and playing. And actually, a lot of what I do now with my clients and the people that I work with is about playing, really. I mean, I don't say that to the big corporates because obviously they don't really understand that. But in order to really get people to be their best and to really be confident in themselves and what it is that they're doing, they need to have a certain amount of playfulness. And when I say playfulness, maybe that's a curiosity about what it is that they're doing and who they're doing it for. And so those sort of warm-up exercises and those drama games that I used to play when I was training as an actor and when I train other people, those are the kind of exercises that I like to put my clients and customers through, just to get them really to lose those inhibitions, to leave themselves at the door and really step outside of their comfort zone and see how far they can go. Because after all, transformation really happens when you're stepping right to the edge of your comfort zone. So I love people to get there because I love seeing them transform, which, trust me, they do. They do. Yes, I love play. I've got here, pick a player part. So I'm looking more now at obviously the training that I had as an actor, but really, again, it's finding that motivation when you're given a script. It's about reading between the lines, looking at the subtext. Now, I've recently been working at Pinewood Studios with a group of stunt performers. So these are stunt performers that are young and they are training to be stunt performers. And part of that training is they need to learn how to act, as you would imagine. They need sometimes not just to fall off buildings. They need to be able to speak to camera. So that's something that I worked with them, is looking at a script, reading between the lines, looking at the subtext. What is that backstory? Why is that character doing what they're doing? What is their inner monologue? That's really interesting, and that's something you can sort of look at when you're in a space with people. If you're in a boardroom, or if you are on a stage, or you're in a networking environment, if you know the signs and if you know how to gauge people's body language, it's really interesting to see how they use their inner monologue. Oh, we've got Laurie here. Hello, Laurie. And Laurie, you're saying hello both, and I have to confess, as I did at the top here, that unfortunately I made a bit of a boo-boo, and the lovely Vanda is going to be here next week. I know. I'm really, really, really sorry. So we don't have Vanda today, but we will have her next week. But Laurie, you are the perfect person. Laurie was a guest on Speaking About Speaking a couple of weeks ago, and it comes from a performing background too. And so, Laurie, I was just speaking about how the actors training is so beneficial to everybody, in no matter what it is that they do for their work and for their business and for their life. So you'll know all about inner monologue and reading between the lines. But I was looking forward to speaking to you, Vanda, which I will do next week, about the NLP side of linguistics and language, and how NLP can really help you look at your map of the world, but look at other people's maps of the world, and get that sort of self-awareness, and read other people as well as yourself. One of the lovely things, I had some fantastic feedback from some of the stunt performers that I was working with last week, after we put them through 5 days of intensive acting training, was that actually the feedback came back that that working for the 5 days on the acting training had made this gentleman's life more fun, because he was now really looking at people's inner monologues and their motivation, and looking at himself as well. So that was great. Yeah, what's that, Laurie? Forward facing and delivering messages. Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. Brilliant. Thank you. So I'm just, for those of you that are watching on the replay or are here listening, unfortunately, as I said, Vanda's not here today. She will be here next week, and so you hopefully you'll come back and join me then. But what I'm doing today for the next sort of 20 minutes is just to answer some questions that I'd asked myself. And this was an exercise that came up from a presentation I watched today with the wonderful Ella Orr, talking about personal branding. And one of her tips was to do this very exercise, is to ask yourself, what are your values? What is your motivation for doing what you do? And asking yourself some really quite sort of deep questions about what it is that you love to do and why you do it. And then from that, you can find out what your personal brand pillars are. And the other thing that came up in Ella's presentation today was to ask your tribe, is what the way she put it. But a couple of years back, when I very first started this business, I asked people around, in my network. So I asked some people in my network, I asked some former clients, and I asked some friends, and I said, what is it that I do? What do you think I am good at? And what do you think I could improve? And I suppose that's quite a scary thing to do if you are, feeling a little bit vulnerable. But actually, it was really, really good for my confidence, because actually people aren't going to be nasty. They will tell you the truth, and hopefully they'll be constructive. And actually what came back made me realize that I was doing the right thing, that my motivation and my values were spot on, and the mission that I had for me and my business was correct. So as scary as it sounds, it's quite a good exercise to do, is to ask your friends what they think of you. Ask people that you've worked with, people in your network, what it is that they like about what you do, what your superpowers are. And again, going back to what Ella was talking about today with personal branding, it's then taking the words that come up regularly. I think I asked 11 people in all, and there were certain words that came up from everybody. And those were the ones that I knew were at my core. So those were the ones that people saw, how I wanted to be seen, how I wanted to show up. They gave me that clue as to what it was that I was doing right and what I was doing wrong, what my superpowers were. So that was a really, really good exercise. I would be interested to find out if anybody does that off the back of this podcast, and let me know how you get on, please. Or if you've done it, put a comment in the comments. I'd love to know how you got on with doing that. What can we learn from being on stage? Well, being on stage as an actor is a culmination of weeks and weeks of rehearsal. But if you're getting on stage as a speaker and you've got a talk or a presentation that you're doing for an audience, then you will have, I would hope, put in a lot of rehearsal, a lot of practice, a lot of prep. You will have researched your audience. You will know who it is that you're speaking to, why they are there, and why they should be listening to you. So you will have done all of that. But what can you learn about being on stage from actually the experience of doing that? It's learning how to be truthful, how to be authentic and open, because it is quite a vulnerable experience to step on a stage, even when you are so rehearsed and you are almost, some people hide behind slides, they hide behind presentations that they've put together, they might hide behind a script. But if you can actually get on a stage confidently and comfortably with the material that you have, with the content that you have. And when you know exactly who it is that you're talking to and why you're talking to them, then that's really enlightening and quite empowering, I think. It's being responsible for yourself. It's taking responsibility. You know, it's you up there and measure, you know, it's you up there and putting across your opinion, your thoughts for the sake of the audience. Laurie says a sense of what you are a sense of what your body is communicating, and to learn awareness. And there's no substitute for saying it out loud. Absolutely. I mean, this is one of the things that I say. You know, if you've got anything that you need to speak out loud in, you know, when it comes to it, then practice speaking it out loud. And if you can, speak it out loud to a real human being, because there's nothing quite like it. You know, you can stand in front of a mirror, you can walk around the park, which is what I used to do when I used to memorize my lines, was walk around dog walking and, you know, just go through the lines and speak them out loud. But there's nothing quite like speaking them to another human being, preferably one that loves you, because you really get that sense of how it's coming across. You can get some constructive criticism. You can ask whether your audience, whoever that might be, that person that loves you, whether they understood what it was you were talking about, what was the point. And it really kind of takes away just at least one layer of nerves, so that once you've done it in real life to at least one real life person, then when it comes to speaking the real thing, then actually you won't be quite so nervous as you was before. So yeah, there is no substitute for saying it out loud. Absolutely. So if you are out there, if you've just joined me or watching the replay and you were expecting the wonderful Vanda Varga to be here, unfortunately, I did make a bit of a boo-boo, and I don't know why. I spent the whole week thinking Vanda was going to be here today. And about 4 minutes to 4 o'clock, when she hadn't appeared, I emailed and said, Vanda, did you get the link? And she said, it's not till next week. So yes. So hence, I'm kind of making it up as I go along, which is basically what I do. And I quite enjoy that. So yeah, apologies if you were here expecting Vanda and you've just got me. Apologies for that. But Vanda will be here next week and I look forward to that. So yeah, if you're out there and listening, anybody, then do put a comment, ask a question. I'd be very, very happy to answer you. And what else have I got here on my list? How can improvisation help with confidence and creativity? So that's a difficult one, isn't it? Improvisation, when you're talking to business people or you're talking to people that have no inclination to step on a stage and act, when you talk to them about improvisation, they kind of go, oh, or you can see them stepping back or shuddering or wanting to hide underneath the table. But actually, improvisation is so easy, because you do like I am now. You make it up as you go along. And as long as you know your stuff, as long as you have, and we all do, anybody that runs a business or has been in a business for any amount of time knows their stuff because they live it. They work it day in, day out. And so what it comes down to then is just having the permission to be yourself, to show up with your personality and just speak. Let people know that you know what you're talking about and that you can make it up as you go along. You can have those conversations. You can step into a networking space and talk without having a plan, without having, you know, people have those 60-second elevator pitches, which is great. Prepare something. Definitely get your first sentence out. You know, what is it that you do? Answer that question when, you know, because that's the question you get asked when you walk into a networking space. What do you do? That's just, don't say I'm an accountant, I'm a financial advisor, because that's not what you do. That's not who you are. And the people that you're speaking to want to know more than that. So when people ask me, what do you do? I say I help people get excited about stepping on a stage or stepping in front of their audience. And then that automatically gets people to go, oh, that sounds interesting. And they want to know more. So then I get to explain what it is that I do, how I do it, and why I do it, and what the transformation is for the people that I work with. So as long as you've got that kind of starter, then the rest, you talk. And the biggest part of improvisation, and the most important part of improvisation, is listening. And you need to listen. So acting is all about acting and reacting. So what you need to do as that person walking into a networking space or into, anywhere that you've got to be yourself, is just speak from your heart. Speak about what it is that you know, and react after listening. So make sure that you listen to the person that you're talking to, hear what they are saying, be curious. Again, that's that thing about being playful, and improvisation is all about being curious and being playful and listening. Oh, thank you, Laurie. That's such a powerful message to start with. I help in response to the what do I do question. Yeah, I think, we all do it on LinkedIn is full of those profiles. That's, what is it that you do in your profile on LinkedIn? It says, generally it will start with I help. What is it that you help people with? What is the transformation that you take people through? Talk to people from your own point of view, using your own stories, using your own experience. Because when you're talking authentically as you, using your own experiences and your own stories, then you can't be caught out. You can't be judged. You won't stumble over your words and and because you're talking about what you know. It's about you. So always, always, always talk from your own experience. Don't try to be somebody you think other people think you should be. This was another part of the conversation I was having earlier today with Ella and the group that we were with, is try not to be who you think you should be. Be who you are. Show up with your personality, and just be confident that you are enough and you are the person that your client or customer needs to be speaking to. Working with others, this is the other thing that where else do you get from improvisation? You think on the spot. It expands your mind. It really, if you get used to speaking and making stuff up as you go along. And I think we had this conversation, Laurie, about going along to a drama course and playing about with improvisation, because it really does put you in a space where your mind expands, because you have to think on the spot. So a great improvisation exercise is the yes and exercise. So you know, in a partnership or in a group of people, you speak something and then the next person says yes and they add to that improvisation. So they're always adding. There's adding layers. It gets more exciting. It gets more doable. It's more positive. If you change that round and finish the sentence with a no but, it brings the conversation down. It's negative. In improvisation terms, it goes nowhere. So in your own lives, when you're interacting with people on a Zoom call, in a workspace, in a networking environment, think about yes and. When you're talking to people and you're curious and you're listening, answer them with a yes and kind of sentence. I mean, you really will notice the difference, because it really is progressive and positive. What else have I got here? Act and react. I think we did that one. Expressing and engaging and having fun. Again, it's all that sort of curiosity. The next one I have here is, how can people connect with an audience? Well, that is about knowing who your audience is. So if you've done your research and you know who it is that you're talking to, if it's in a one client situation, then make sure you know who that client is, what they want out of the conversation that they're going to be having with you, because it's all about them, whether it's an audience of one or whether it's an audience of thousands. If you are on a stage at a huge conference, if you're giving a presentation or a keynote speech, You need to know who your audience is, because this isn't about you, it's about them. And actually, when you change your mindset in that way, it kind of takes the pressure off you, because you are there to give value. And actually, it's all about the audience. It's not about you. So think about that. Make sure you do that research, that you really find out who it is that you're talking to. Why should they care what it is that you're saying to them? Why would they want to listen? And the more you know about them, the more you can spark their curiosity, the more you can have fun with them, then that's when you become engaging. That's when they lean forward and they start listening. And so a lot of that, again, that can come down to the voice, that can come down to the way that you tell a story, the stories that you tell. But again, it's not about you. You're not telling a story. You're not telling your story to get sympathy from your audience. You're not telling a story just to make them laugh, to make yourself look good. It's got to be about them. If you're telling your own stories and putting across your own experience, then it's really in order to validate somebody in the audience. It's to resonate and make you relatable to the people in the audience. So always think about them. Why should they care about what it is that you're saying? Why should they be there? Because 9 times out of 10, if they're coming to a conference, they've either had to pay a lot of money or they are there for work. So yeah, in a way, you owe it to them to show up confidently and comfortably, and with a message that is relevant to them. Because if you don't, if you are not well prepared, if you are not confident in your content, if you're not comfortable on the stage, then the audience will mirror that. So if you step on the stage feeling uncomfortable and unconfident, that's exactly how you will make the audience feel. So always think of the audience first. Do your research, find out who it is that you're talking to and why they should want to listen to what it is that you're saying. Well, I think I've spoken enough. Again, apologies if you came in slightly late there and were expecting to see the lovely Vanda Varga. I made a bit of a boo-boo, and she actually isn't here until next week. Yeah, I don't know why. As soon as she came back to me at 2 minutes to 4 and said, "No, it's the 18th, Jackie, not the 11th," I suddenly went, "Oh, of course." So I put out all the promo. I did all of that, put her lovely face out there, and yes, she's not here till next week. So please be prepared to see all of the same stuff again next week, and she will be here. And I'm really looking forward to speaking to Vanda. I've recently been through Vanda's NLP practitioner training course, which was invaluable. And I am really looking forward to talking to her about how NLP can help with the anxiety of public speaking, because there's lots of techniques there that I learned, certainly. And I know that Laurie, who's here listening, and Ricky Locke and some of the other guys in this sort of network that use NLP for their training and when they're working with people on public speaking. So it's really helpful. So I'm really looking forward to talking to Vanda a little bit more about that. And I have to say, if anybody is out there thinking of doing NLP as a, anything, either to teach NLP to other people or to use NLP within their own coaching practice, then do check out Vanda Varga, because her course is quite amazing. So without any further ado, I am going to just show you my website, because I don't have anybody else's to show you, and just say, look, powertospeak.co.uk. So if you'd like to know any more about the speaker training that I do, the coaching programs that I have, you can check out the website there and have a look at all my services, and have a look at the other podcasts. If you go to the Power to Speak YouTube channel, there are all the other replays there of the previous Speaking About Speaking episodes. So do go and check those out. and that's Power to Speak YouTube channel. So please go there and please subscribe. I am desperately trying to get my subscriber number up, and you know, people do these webinars and things and kind of go do you know, press the button and do all that, or click the bell, ring the bell. Yeah, if you get to the YouTube channel, please subscribe. But thank you for this week for being here. Thank you to Laurie for interacting with me. That was brilliant. Thank you very much. And if you are watching the replay, thanks for being here. Leave a comment, subscribe, do whatever you like. And I look forward to seeing you next week here with the lovely Vanda Varga. Bye for now.